In this video, we're going to talk about the most important requirement for you to live a healthy, beautiful, and conscious relationship where both people can expand and grow, and why most people don't live their relationships in this way. And I would invite you to stay until the end of the video where I talk to you about how you can apply this in your life and release and process anything that's making you live your relationships in ways that isn't healthy. And hey, if this is the first time that we meet, I'm Jonas, and on this channel we talk about authenticity and personal growth. We provide tools and ideas that help you gain clarity, freedom, and fulfillment in your life. If you haven't yet, consider subscribing. So the most important requirement for a beautiful, healthy relationship where both people can expand and grow is to be willing to let go of the other person and of the relationship for their own truth and their heart's calling and them following their own path. What does that mean? Like, you have to be able that in case the other person was following their heart and really following their truth, and that truth would include doing something or going somewhere that wouldn't include you and your relationship with the person, then you would have to be willing to let go of that person to have a beautiful relationship with that person, and vice versa. If at some point you felt like you need to leave this relationship for really to follow your path, to follow your truth, to expand, to grow, the other person would also have to be willing to let you go in order for you two to be able to have a beautiful, conscious relationship that is really nourishing and fulfilling in the long run. Why is that so? The reason for that is that if you're not willing to let go of the relationship, if that was necessary, then the relationship is based on fear and on wanting to avoid pain and suffering. And the truth is, if you're doing that, you're actually not avoiding pain and suffering, but you're actually creating more pain and suffering. And the thing is that because we are afraid to leave the relationship in case it was necessary, we're trying to make something work that can't work. And so actually, I'm not saying that you should leave your relationship or that your relationship doesn't work, but the willingness to be able to let go of the other person if it was necessary creates the baseline such that then you can actually freely choose how you want to live your life, how you want to grow, how you want to expand in your own life and possibly in the relationship or beyond the relationship. That means that this relationship is so deep that you can talk about everything and anything. Because oftentimes there are certain things in relationships that you just feel like you can't talk about it or you can't do it. There are just certain things that you exclude in your life that would feel like true for you to do, like that would feel like you really want to do them, that is really your path. There are other things that you would want to do, but it's not necessarily your truth, it's not necessarily your path, and you're like, well, I don't really need to do that, and if the relationship wouldn't work if I do that, but I don't really necessarily need to do it, I really value that relationship because that relationship is on my path, and this other thing not so much, then it's a different thing. But really, if you're feeling inside of yourself there's something you need to do and you're not doing it because of a relationship, then you're actually creating more pain and more suffering rather than avoiding it or rather than not having it. The reason why I'm saying that is because I've seen so many people which have relationships that are based on fear and are based on avoiding pain and suffering. And that doesn't work. And that actually creates more suffering and pain. And it's a really bad baseline for a relationship because it's a relationship based on fear. If you're willing to let go of the other person in case it was necessary, then the likelihood of the relationship to really work out in the long run is much higher. And the depth to which you can go in the relationship is much higher because then you know that you can go to the deepest depth of the relationship, of the connection, of your own growth, of the other person's growth, and of your growth together because you're willing to let go of everything for the real deepest truth to emerge. And then you can actually connect on that truth. You can connect on both people's deepest heart desires because you can really share them, you can really live them, and you know the other person supports you in that. Like, if you're able to love the other person so much so that you're even willing to let go of the other person if that would make them more happy in the long run, then that's the deepest form of love, of support, of how you can be together, how you can relate together or with each other. And so through that, you create the deepest and most beautiful and most nourishing and most conscious relationship. And out of that, you can grow the most, you can be the most of who you can be, you can live your full potential. And if you're being in a relationship that's based on fear and on avoiding pain and suffering, you will never be able to fully live your dream, to fully live your full potential, to really live all of who you are and who you want to be. So I would really invite you to inquire inside of yourself. If you're in a relationship, are you living based on that deepest love that's even willing to let go of the other person if it was necessary? Or are you living your relationship based on fear and wanting to avoid pain? And really be very honest with yourself. What is going on in your life and in your relationship? And if you're not in a relationship, ask yourself, are you trying to get into a relationship so you feel like someone else can fulfill you or can give you something that you already need? Or do you feel like you're walking on your path, really following what feels true for you, and that person would complement that, would actually come inside of a wholeness inside of you where you can actually relate with each other on equal levels, rather than trying to get something from another person and create a relationship that can then serve you to feel good and then get to a point where you're dependent on that relationship to be happy. So just inquire yourself, what is your relationship to relationship? And how deep are you able to go in terms of love, of unconditional love, of really caring for the other person? And if you're really able to go real deep and really love to the core of your heart, even to the point that you would be willing to let go of the other person, then you're going to invite the deepest and most beautiful relationships into your life, and you will be able to live such a beautiful relationship, and you're most likely for these relationships to really last as long as they can last based on your both people's truth. And if there's pain and suffering that you're trying to avoid, then I would invite you to use a tool like releasing. I will link a video up here that talks about what releasing is. There are also other videos on this channel that you can check out where you can work with that fear. You can work with that pain and that suffering that's coming up that you want to avoid. So you can work with that and then see what is the truth beyond that pain. What is the truth beyond that fear? How would you want to act in your life if you were acting out of deepest love and your own truth and following your own path, rather than following your fear and your pain? And I would love to read in the comments, what is holding you back from living your fullest potential, from living your most beautiful, most deep and most conscious relationship, and also in just following your path in life? Let me know in the comments, and if you liked the video, please hit the like button, and I would invite you to support my channel by subscribing to my channel and turn on notifications by pressing on the notifications bell, so you'll be notified when new videos are going to come out. And so there are so many videos on this channel that I would love for you to watch. This one is the one where I'm talking about a specific method of releasing that you can use to work with some kind of emotions or fear or pain and so on to process that. And this one is a video where I talk about how to live an authentic life. So have fun watching and have a great day.